And welcome back to the Hot Lap. We are talking the Alpine F1 launch. Yes, it's all gone pink come Valentine's month. So Alpine unveiled their new look, AF24, a very much a black-inspired livery with a bit of colour, but that seems to be the theme of a lot of cars here. And this is a report from planetf1.com. So as we know, Alpine have become the latest team to launch their 2024 livery. In doing so, it was also happy birthday for Pierre Gasly. Now, they teased close-up images of what was a pink camouflage livery in the days leading up to their launch, which I think would have been absolutely fantastically awesome. Just like, if you remember, the Red Bull or the old Toro Rosso ended up having those very much camo colours, and they looked brilliant, didn't they? But a lot of teams do that to hide aerodynamics. You probably see it as well in rally cars and some of the hypercars as well. I digress. So, having teased these images, they obviously launched, now Wednesday the 7th. So, the French constructor, they'll look to what they call their A524 to improve on what was a disappointing 2023 with that 6th place finish in last season's Constructors' Championship. They fell away from McLaren after beating them and were overtaken by Aston Martin, which is kind of understandable, I guess, with the jump that Aston Martin made. But they didn't really, bear in mind McLaren started very much behind them last year. They kind of developed, but not really that well, and they were good at some races, but not at others. Kind of like a knife edge, really, of setup. Not quite as bad as that Mercedes knife edge extremes, but still. So as we know, they're the 4th team to launch their 2024 car, and funnily enough, after McLaren earlier this year, they're the 5th team to launch their livery. Now, they've retained their very French pairing of Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon for the season ahead, with the two being quite evenly matched over the last year. So speaking at the launch, a Challenger redesigned from its predecessor, team principal Bruno Famin said, "It's a great moment for Alpine Motorsports to come together and officially present its programmes for the 2024 season." He went on to say, "It is certainly a unique moment to have both the A524 F1 car, and they also launched their hypercar there, so you mentioned that, with all the drivers in the same room as both projects prepare for what will be a busy and intense 2024. He's very happy to have both their cars there, and the next stage on our journey is deploying everything to the track, applying operational excellence, yes, PR speak, across the board, and growing a greater dynamic." I mean, this guy sounds like Ron Dennis. It's great, isn't it? Great dynamic and mindset from all our teams. We are all very much looking forward to continuing the hard work to bring Alpine name success. And speaking of Alpine, motorsport.com is basically obviously, talking about the Alpine car launching the other day, but they've described it as an aggressive revamp, which not only involves aerodynamics, but also a redesign of rear suspension and the cooling package. Now, Matt Harmon, the technical director, explained that only the steering wheel has been carried over from that disappointing 2023 car. However, it says the initial sideways step to a brand new design, motorsport.com is reporting, means that Alpine could well appear at the season start in Bahrain behind of where they really want to be, a scenario which both drivers have suggested is possible. I mean, Ocon said it is a possible scenario when asked that, and then Pierre Gasly was quite similar. Ocon went on to say that we have a new concept, the car is totally new, and when you do that, you normally take a step back. I don't say that this is the case, because we haven't put the car down yet, but the plan is to improve it through the year and get more progress the more that we go through the laps. And let's hope this car does have a lot more development potential than the 2023 car with this new concept. And Ocon is saying that it's going to be crucial to get good feedback straight away to know where we have to improve, to see if the concept choices that we took are the right ones. It's not necessarily that crucial where we start, but it's going to be where we are mid-season. So Gasly similarly cautioned that he and Ocon might have to remain a little bit patient while the Enstone outfit is unlocking more performance out of its car. Gasly said, "As Matt said, the only thing that remains from last year is the steering wheel, so when you start with a blank piece of paper from scratch, basically, there's always more risks." But then he said, "You've got to take risk at some point if you want bigger rewards." Absolutely, you do, if you want to catch that Red Bull. He said, "We didn't try the car yet. We've got to wait for Bahrain and get a first feel with it, but we know there's potential to unlock. We just might need to be a little bit patient." And speaking of the drivers, Ocon spoke about that Lewis Hamilton's spare seat from Mercedes. He's basically saying he retains strong links to Mercedes amid all these who goes where Hamilton, after Hamilton rumours. So motorsport.com is reporting now, as we know, Ocon is out of contract at Alpine at the end of the season. He was signed by the Mercedes Junior program during that 2015 title-winning GP3 series, and he still remains on good terms with Toto Wolff. Now, addressing this speculation, he said this in relation to him being Mercedes Junior driver. He said, "I've always had strong links with Mercedes." He admitted, "I'm still a Merc Junior driver. This has always been, even if I'm not that junior anymore, I'm still contracted with them at some stage. So it's how it is. We will see. At the moment, I'm totally dedicated to Alpine. That's my focus. I need to do a good job on track as always. Every year is a crucial year in F1 because it doesn't matter if you have a contract or not. If you don't perform, you can be out. That's how it is. If you do a strong job, there will be always talks, rumours and good things for you, absolutely." And he said, "As long as we talk about you, it means that what you do on track is good." Well, I guess if you're really bad, they'll still talk about you. Just speak to Lance Stroll. But moving on. I mean, yes, okay, I know Lance Stroll has had his good days as well. So Pierre Gasly was also speaking about his future. And Pierre Gasly has revealed talks are already underway, though, about extending his Alpine deal as the F1 silly season. It kicked into gear, didn't it, at the beginning of the year? So the interesting thing about these two drivers, though, I can't help but feel that 2023, Gasly at the end of 2023, was more of the favourite compared to Ocon, even though he was the newer driver there. I could be wrong. Maybe it's just me being paranoid for Ocon. But as we know, Gasly, his contract ends in 2024, and he's hinted that talks are already ongoing. He said about Hamilton's move, it was unexpected for most people. Obviously, it changes slightly the dynamics of the driver market and that whole silly season. He said, "Obviously, I started with Alpine last year. I know the project I'm working on. I have the end of my contract at the end of the year. And obviously, there are conversations ongoing." He said, "I think the situation is pretty clear. But at the moment, I just want to see what the car is capable of. Ultimately, my goal is to fight at the front. I believe it's possible with Alpine. I'm 28, good experience, in my prime. And that's what I'm working for. I want to fight for wins, podiums, and be up there." One thing I think the Alpine team, I'm fairly confident in saying, is I don't think they're going to go for outright wins this year. I think the odd podium is certainly possible. They got one pretty much, on merit in terms of it was a wet race and they made all the right calls back in Monaco, didn't they? Which was a really good early race for them. So I think, yeah, definitely. If you get one of those funny weekends podiums, I do feel that they want to finish higher than 6. But more than that, I think they definitely want more points than they had last year as well. So a lot of people thought Alpine were the laughing stock last year with all their comings and goings and all their changes, with a lot of people leaving. For example, Otmar, Alan Permain leaving. And it kind of seemed a disaster. And Renault, obviously, the owners of Alpine needed to really, really rein it in. And let's hope they show this year that they can be, in the future, a serious force to contend with. And you can't help but feel this is kind of like a rebuilding year after last year, losing all those key staff and people raising eyebrows at them. So, fingers crossed for Alpine. Let's hope they have a fantastic 2024. If you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe, and we'll speak to you next time on the Hot Lap.